everybody. Welcome to One-on-One with Alex. Today, I have a special guest, the CEO of the Boys and Girls Club, Diane Fitzpatrick. And just before we start, I want to thank our sponsors, Business New Hampshire Magazine. Without them, we wouldn't be able to produce this podcast. So support them is supporting us. We'd appreciate if you could throw some support their way. And we'll get started on the podcast. How's it going, Diane?
Good morning, Alex. It's going great.
This is my first Skype or off-site podcast, so this will be cool.
I'm excited about this. It's nice just to have a conversation with somebody.
I know. It's nice because we've had to interact with a few customers here and there, and it seems like everyone's a little bit peppier and a little bit more chatty, which is nice. Everyone's really wants to talk, and it's actually kind of a nice thing. And you don't have to rush because you're really not in nothing to do really after that, so it's kind of a nice little thing. So how is everything going for you right now?
It's certainly different. I miss the Boys and Girls Club terribly. I miss my kids. Our staff, when I get to see them every Friday morning, we do a Zoom call, and I get to see them and have a conversation about how they're doing and what their highs are. We're still connecting to kids, and it's just great to hear the stories of how they're connecting, and just really focusing on the positive.
That's fantastic. Normally what I do in the podcast is I start with how you got to where you were, but I think in this podcast we should start with what's really going on right now, and we can get back to that because I think what's going on right now is so important. So
it is, Alex. It really is. What's going on right now in our society, in our community, is strength, resilience, and I'm just so amazed of how kind people are. We've never gone through anything like this. And so to think about where we are in time, and you couldn't even imagine that a virus like this would come into our communities and shut everything down. But to see how people are rallying to support one another has been very, very powerful.
Because I agree, and I think it's amazing. And you guys have a very difficult job to try to do in a situation where you can't have a facility. I mean, a lot of what you do is allowing a safe place and a place for food and shelter for a lot of children. How did you guys first start working around that? What were some of your first decisions that you made?
I can be really honest with you. I had rose-colored glasses, and I'm thinking we could keep our doors open and everything was going to be okay. And if there was going to be a shutdown, it'd be 14 days and we could rally. And I had a call with Paul LeBlanc from Southern New Hampshire University, and he was really talking me through, like, Diane, this is really serious, and really helped me as a leader get into a position to understand, like, this is going to challenge us. We're going to think differently. But the most important thing is people's health. And being very focused on what we can do instead of what we can't do.
That's true.
So we started really, when this was going around and meeting with the health department, talking to the school districts, when we were realizing schools were going to close, that to me was my aha moment. Like, okay, the schools close, what will it look like for a Boys and Girls Club? And working with my staff and creating individual work plans, I looked at this as an opportunity to pause and work on professional development, maybe reading a book. I mean, I can't remember the last time I read a book, and really working on how we can grow as professionals. So our staff are doing a lot of trainings, virtual trainings right now, but they're also reaching out to our kids. And I didn't even imagine some of the challenges with this remote learning. Many of our staff are bilingual, but our families are having trouble understanding the remote learning and needing that translation. So every afternoon, our staff are working with families, so not only the children, but the parents, translating the homework, how to communicate with the schools during this time of remote learning. So each week, we've discovered some aha moments of how we can do this. And just having a sense of determination to reach our kids, make sure they're okay, let our families know that we are a resource. Even though our doors are shut, our hearts are open, and we're figuring out ways to support you.
That's amazing that you guys are able to support these families even now, and especially with something as difficult as that, as going through homework with the parents and helping them translate. I mean, that's extremely difficult to do via the phone or even via a Zoom or Skype interaction.
And they're just so dedicated. And in the beginning, we were doing the tutoring at the club. And then when we got the stay-at-home order, we've got everybody, at their homes, working from homes. We even have dance lessons happening in the afternoon through Skype. I'm not Skype, Zoom. But we've just really figured out and putting in the best practices in place, getting the parents involved, getting parent permission slips. We do videos. Our YouTube page is pretty funny. We've got some great things posted there, but kind of just showing a sense of community in this virtual world.
No, that's amazing. And, one of the things we were just talking about before we started was that you're also, because you do feed a lot of children at the Boys and Girls Club, that you still are doing a drive-through food program.
Yeah, the first week, I felt like we were all just trying to figure out strategies of supporting families. We did the questionnaire. And once we got that all mapped out, we decided to do this drive-through program. And what it's allowing us to do is provide suppers for any family that comes through. We just hand out meals. In the very beginning, we realized some families didn't have the crayons, pencils, notebooks, and paper that they needed, art supplies. So the first few weeks, we were passing out art supplies, we were passing out dinners. And then on Wednesday, which is one of my favorite days, our families get a bag of groceries. So we have a partnership with Hannaford's, and we're getting fresh protein. And we've been working with Trader Joe's. And New Hampshire Food Bank has been an incredible partner to allow us to give food to families. And we do have some families that have some transportation issues, and our staff have gone and delivered food to them as well. So it's our way of getting connected and supporting the families. And I'll tell you, the drive-thru is my favorite, to see my kids and wave hello to them and just see the parents and letting the parents know it's going to be okay. It's just we're working differently right now.
No, I mean, that's really amazing. I mean, it's amazing that you guys have found, I think, in such a bizarre time, to find a way to still continue to support these families, because they need you, and they sort of in a big way, they do rely on you, not maybe only just for food, but also for education and everything else. And it's amazing you guys have really thought outside the box and really gone out of your way, including dropping off food to them, to make sure that everybody's okay. I mean, that just proves the power of nonprofits and a community kind of coming together to help each other.
And I love how you said that, a community coming together, and all the nonprofits throughout the city, we're all working very collaboratively. We were doing that before, but we're doing it even more. Muskeg Health, they have a counselor that was working with our teens and tweens. She did a video that's on our YouTube page, and she's just a phone call away for our kids. So again, we're trying to keep that connection, that real connection with our kids and our families, to let them know that we're working together, we will get through this, but how can we help you? And I think our families are giving us just as much, giving a sense of purpose, because this is what it's really about.
It is. It's really about helping everybody and bringing the community together. And I think, and I hope, I really do hope that at the end of this, this pandemic, that people do have a little bit more of a sense of how important community is and how important it is to help your other person and your other man and your other woman, because it's so serious. I mean, this really showed everybody that it's not just about me, it's about everybody. And so we'll see how that goes. Is there something for people who have the means or the time, there may be a lot of people who have the time, that they can help you in some way?
Well, we've gotten a lot of outreach for volunteering, and the stay-at-home order is making it really difficult to have volunteers come into our building. Right now, our staff, we try to keep it less than 10 people in the building at a time. We rotate the groups so that we're not exposing each other. And, we've got our masks and following the CDC guidelines. So volunteering right now is a little hard. I'm sure in the coming weeks, as things slowly lift, we'll be reaching out. We want to get Camp Foster. We have a day camp out in Bedford that serves over 400 kids a week during the summer months. And I'm thinking very positive, and I'm hoping that we'll be open. So we've got a team going out there, cleaning up stuff, getting the grounds ready. So there will be things in the coming months. I think about the word philanthropy, and its meaning is the love of mankind. And what I've experienced over the last few weeks is such passion for mankind, for one another. And a lot of our donors have just reached out to me to check in and seeing if I'm okay, making sure our team's okay, what can they do to help. And it's just filled my heart with such joy to know that there's so many people out there that are our champions and care about our organization. So it's been really a humbling experience. When this first happened, I had a deep sadness the first week. And I decided to take that energy and write love notes to certain donors because they have been dedicated to the Boys and Girls Club for so many, many years. And I just needed them to know that I care about them. And because of them, we're in a position to continue to carry forth. And to me, that was just a special thing that I got to do that it just felt great to do.
I think that's really amazing. I don't think that a lot of donors a lot of donors, they get to see where their money went. They get to see maybe a name on a plaque, but I don't think that very often do they receive a handwritten note expressing how important what they have donated is to the community and to you and to your entire organization. And I think that that's really special because I just don't think I've ever heard that. I mean, that's really amazing. I think
It's
that's
all
cool.
about gratitude, honestly. And we talked about in the beginning. You were saying, Diane, how did you land here? And I've been in this role now 5 years. In November, it'll be 6. And I think about my career and I think about my life. And we started off, getting a job. My first job was Burger King up in Laconia, and thinking way back, and it was a job and earning money and all of that. And my career has just continued to grow. And I wanted a career, and I really developed myself. But this time in my life, this is my purpose. And I am living my purpose each and every day, serving the kids and the staff and the community at the Boys and Girls Club.
Oh, it's really amazing. And that is true. So that must have been high school, right? At Burger King.
Yeah.
So what happened after high school? What was next?
Yeah, so I moved to Manchester and I went to Hesser College. I wanted to be a travel in tourism, a flight attendant. I was majoring in that. And then I realized that I didn't want to do that. So I went to school for education and became a kindergarten teacher and kind of worked my way up there. At the same time, I was lucky enough and, married young to my college sweetheart. We were 21, he was 23, and we have 2 amazing children. So we started our family really, really early in life. But my career followed my kids all the way. And then as I proceeded to get into higher education, and I fell in love working with students in higher ed, and I did international travel, and it was just an amazing experience. But my whole career has always been around children.
That's amazing. What was your first job in higher ed? So what happened? So you were a kindergarten teacher, and then you found a job doing something else completely different, it sounds like?
Yeah, so Hesser College was located on Sundial Ave, and I used to have their interns working at the child care center. And I got to a point in my career where I didn't want to own a child care center. I wanted something more, and I really wanted to challenge myself. I went back to school, and they offered me a job as an admissions counselor, and I had no idea what that job was, but to really help promote the school and get kids connected, young adults connected to education. And I know through my whole life, my success has to be about education. And you're constantly learning. I hope I will always be a student forever because learning really builds up just who you are as a person. So yeah, that's how I fell into it. And then I went to New England College and started the international recruitment there and worked my way up to the Dean of Admissions.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah,
New England
so it was a lot of fun. It was quite a ride. And then I was serving on the board for the Boys and Girls Club, and I had just resigned my position from the Webster House. I was on their board as well. And I just love the nonprofit sector. And a lot of personal things happened in my life. So I left the college and took about 6 months off, and I learned to play golf, but I'm not good at it at all. I took lessons, and it just didn't work out. And I was working for the New Hampshire Center for Nonprofits, and I felt like that opportunity was like boot camp for me, and it really helped me get to know all the nonprofits in the state of New Hampshire. But there was just this special place the Boys and Girls Club had in my heart. And at the time, the executive director had decided to retire, so I threw my resume in, and it was almost almost a year. Yeah, I think it was about a year-long process. But
Wow.
yeah, it was. I'm so happy to be in this position and where I've landed, because it is all about purpose now.
Isn't it amazing? I love talking to everyone on this podcast because everyone thinks that the path is so straight and narrow for everyone that it's just like, I went to college, this is what I wanted to do, and I got out. And it's just not. And so many people are afraid to make a career change at any point in their life. Even at 27 years old, I have 27-year-old friends who I talk to who have fear of changing careers. And I think that, I don't know exactly where that comes from, but I think it's from they don't hear enough stories like yours where it's just, you did what you loved, then what you loved changed slightly. So you found something else that you love, and you just continued that until you landed in a place where you're the most happy that you could be.
Oh, absolutely. And it's that inner drive, we have these norms in life, and we think that we're supposed to do this. But if we let those norms go and really listen to what we believe in our hearts, what's best for us as a person, you can't go wrong. You have to follow your heart.
It's absolutely amazing. And it's absolutely true. And what a cool story. And you've had a bunch of amazing jobs.
I really have. And it's funny, I'll see some of my kindergarten kids, and now they're married and they have children. And I'm like, wow, I don't think I'm aging, but I guess I am.
What were some of your favorites? What were something that maybe you took away from each job that you've kind of brought to the Boys and Girls Club? Maybe from like kindergarten teacher, the dean of admissions, the different, because they're so drastically different, but I'm sure each one brought something to your new job.
That is a great question. The kindergarten, I missed my kids. I love little ones. And working at the Boys and Girls Club, I have that joy back in my life. I get to see my kids at 2:30. They come into my office. They tell me about their day. I do spoil them and give them candy. I know I shouldn't do that, but I mean, just that joy. And I think being a kindergarten teacher helped, that education background has really positioned me as we're building out programs, working with the staff. And through all my experiences, I've had mentors in my life, people that have really inspired me to be the best I can be. And so with that, in growing my leadership style, I feel like every position has brought me to this point to develop people and, have a shared leadership model that we're in it together. And each of us have strengths and each of us have weaknesses, but together we're stronger. And so I think, from the kindergarten teacher to working in higher education and helping young people figure out what path of education they're going to go on and see them graduate from college, and now they're all married and all of that. I just think the common themes are developing people, really my dedication to children, young adults, and promoting education. We have, our tween program. We have a program called the 500 Degrees, where our staff, who are incredible, that's really the magic of the Boys and Girls Club, and the staff of the Boys and Girls Club. They've created a program that's really getting college and work readiness. And my experience in higher ed has helped me work with my staff as they've built out this program to get kids, how to fill out the FAFSA form, how to go on actual college road trips. They did that this February. And many of our kids haven't even left the state of New Hampshire, never mind go to a college campus. So,
That's
I
very
just feel
cool.
like my whole pathway has led me to this point. And there's been a lot of nuggets all the way through.
And you guys are so helpful. I mean, there's a lot of things that you guys are doing that I think schools maybe unintentionally lack, like filling out a FAFSA form, like really encouraging and showing kids how you visit a school, and just readying for. I was just having a conversation with my mom yesterday about how I'm not so sure high school got me prepared for actual life. It got me prepared for school, but I don't think I was prepared to basically create a expense report of my life to make sure that I wasn't overspending or underspending. It's just like simple things that I think I would have loved to have learned when I was 18 that I didn't learn I learned on my own at 18, 19 when I could have learned it at 16.
Most of us did, right? And when I look at the programming at a Boys and Girls Club, we're developing those soft skills. And we're really trying to help lift kids. And we do this with partners. Like St. Mary's Bank has this program for CU for Reality, teaching kids financial literacy. So
that.
all of our programs, it's a community effort that we just bring in partners. We have this youth initiative that's going on through Granite United Way. that's allowing us to be a hub and spoke. So we're the hub, and we're bringing in partners like the Manchester Community School Music School is doing music lessons, things like that. So we had a lot of amazing collaborations happening at the last few years. And I hope when the doors open up that we'll all come back together and get that collaboration, because developing our young people is the most important. They're the future workforce. So teaching them those soft skills, how to do interviewing, what it means to have your first job. We hired many of our high school staff to work at the Boys and Girls Club. So we're really doing all kinds of programs to help strengthen their skill sets.
That's amazing. So what are some of the it's hard. The Boys and Girls Club does so much. You guys are so amazing. You do a lot for the community. It's hard to pin down the biggest things you guys do, but a lot of it is life readiness and making sure that there's a safe place, right, for these kids to go.
That's it. And we accept, we meet kids where they're at. The doors are open for all children. So we start at kindergarten. We have a morning program. I feel like say, wait, we're not doing it now, but normally what we would do is bring kids to school in the morning. We open at 6:15. Then we go and pick them up at 2:30. We provide them a healthy snack. We provide them dinner. So think about a safety net for families. And our families, are working longer and harder. And so knowing that their kids are getting all these services at one place, I think is pretty tremendous. And really supporting the school district, because, we want to support our teachers and our guidance counselors and keep that two-way communications, because it takes a village to raise these kids. And we're doing it step by step.
That's really amazing. It's, Manchester is very lucky to have a lot of extremely committed organizations, a lot of extremely committed nonprofits that I've visited other places, and I don't feel like they're as strong. And I think in New Hampshire, like the Boys and Girls Club and Easter Seals and others, that you guys are together creating this really amazing community of helping everyone. And I think that our community backs that very well, or they try to anyway.
They do. Manchester's a very special place. And I think about our state as well. I mean, we're such a small state. It's like you can pick up the phone and you can talk to our governor. You can talk to our state senators. Our mayor is very, very involved in the nonprofit sector, involved in community. So, that's what I love about our city. And, the community rallies when they need to. And this is a rallying point right now. We need to focus on the positive. We need to think differently about our services. We need to be there for one another. And it's going to be okay, but we're just going to do things differently. And we need to be hopeful and just very patient at this point.
No, it's very true. Actually, I have a question about that. So things going forward will be very different. How do you feel going forward this is going to affect? I mean, I'm sure that you guys were keeping the Boys and Girls Club as clean as absolutely possible. But does this change even that pattern? Are you going to have to be spraying down surfaces with different chemicals to make sure that this doesn't ravage through there? I mean, are you going to have to change up your cleaning patterns?
We have, since this all went down, but I think, that there's going to be an expense, a cost there to keep the building clean, and how many kids can we have at this point?
Right.
Those kinds of questions are in my mind right now. Like, how are we going to service our kids? Will they need to wear masks? Washing hands, we've got that. But, when you have 500 kids in one space, that can be a little tedious to get everyone to do that. My hope I hope and pray that we will be able to do some kind of programming this summer, getting our kids outside. I can't imagine this stay-at-home order and children just staying in apartment buildings or on the streets. We have to think about this very differently so that we can get kids safely out in the woods and at our camp and being kids again, and creating some kind of normalcy. That's really what I'm hoping to do in the next couple of weeks, to create that plan.
Well, I'm really hoping that you guys get to do the camp. I mean, the camp makes a lot of sense as it's outside. The kids will be mostly separated. You can break them into smaller groups. Maybe if they were in groups of 20, they can be in groups of 10. And hopefully that they will allow you to do that, especially because I can't imagine these kids who had so much structure in their life where you went to school, you went to the Boys and Girls Club, you went home, and it really helped create, for me, structure and consistency is important. every time I break that consistency or my schedule, you kind of go out of whack for a week. And I can only imagine how these kids feel. I mean, they're just stuck at home, and it takes so much to keep them entertained that
Right.
they must be going nuts.
And the families too. I know they're probably very concerned about, when can I go back to work? What will this look like? Will the Boys and Girls Club be open so I can go back to work? So we've got to start working on this. But, I appreciate Governor Sununu, and he's been making some really tough decisions, but he's trying to keep our people in New Hampshire safe. And I appreciate that. So I'm trying to be patient with and listening to his direction and our health department direction. But I'm hoping, because I just think kids right now more than ever are going to need some normalcy. And what a better place to do that out at Camp Foster and just running and being kids.
Exactly. That would be absolutely amazing. That would be absolutely amazing. And so hopefully you can do that. And hopefully some of the listeners, if they have the time or the means, can either donate to the Boys and Girls Club or donate their time at the camp when it opens and volunteer. Is there anything else you wanted to mention before we got off?
If you would like to smile today, I would encourage everyone to check out our website, begreatmanchester.org, and our YouTube page. Our staff have worked on some really fun videos, and sometimes in the middle of the day you need a laugh. And just check out the amazing things that we're doing, and we will continue to do into the coming weeks until we can open our doors.
That's amazing. So what is the YouTube channel? Is it Manchester Boys and Girls Club?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So everyone should go subscribe to that right now. They should go give that a subscribe. That way they can have a daily smile. And as long as you guys are trying to create some fun content, because that's all you can do is just try to create smiles right now.
Oh, absolutely. And we've created some videos. Our newsletter last week, we interviewed a grandmother, and she was just so touching. And she was talking about how she used the Boys and Girls Club for her children in New York, and now she's here in Manchester helping her daughter with her grandchildren. And, the Boys and Girls Club have been doing this for 112 years. Generation after generation have been impacted by our organization. And that kind of gives me goosebumps when I think about how many people we've impacted, but we've never done it alone. And because of this community, we are a thriving organization, and we'll continue to do this work. But right now, we're going to pause and take care of ourselves and our loved ones. And before you know it, the doors will be open, and we'll have a new normal, and we'll be able to see each other again.
That's awesome. Manchester is very lucky not only to have the Boys and Girls Club, but to have you at the head of it, making sure that everything stays together and that your team is absolutely amazing. And they should get so many thanks for all the amazing things that you guys continue to do, even in this very difficult time, which is helping these kids, even in a place where you can't actually visit them, which I think is just amazing.
Yeah. It's a great example of what community really means. We're seeing that in the love of mankind and this gentleness. We need that. So, the staff of the Boys and Girls Club, they're outstanding, and I'm truly grateful for our board of directors as well, and their support they've been providing me and my team every day.
That's amazing. I really appreciate you coming on and talking to us. I really appreciate you giving me all this insight into what's going on, and I think that everyone's going to be interested to hear how, nonprofits, including yours, have not stopped functioning, that you guys are just thinking outside the box and finding other ways to support your kids and just be amazing people all the time.
We're resilient. We've got this. I thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me. It's great to have this moment with you. So thank you.
This was awesome. Thank you so much for coming. Oh, wait, hold on. We can't end it. I have the final thing. I always have a final question. I actually missed it on the last podcast. So at the end of all my podcasts, because not only do I like showing listeners that, your life path is not always just straight and narrow. You can change and move. I always like to, sometimes people see someone in a place of authority and they think that must have been really easy for them to get. And so I always like to ask someone a failure that they found that they learned a lot from, because I think that everybody fails constantly all the time. And if you use it as a learning experience versus a failure, it becomes an easier pill to swallow.
I was listening to a book this morning, and it was talking about you have to destroy something in order to construct something. And that resonated with me. And, failure, that's a great question. It's, I think it's hard to accept because you don't want to fail, but failure does build you up to be a stronger person. Oh gosh, failure. Let's see. Alex, I think you stumped me.
That's okay.
Um, I don't know. You know, I think sometimes I've failed myself. Maybe that's the best way to describe it.
Yeah.
With that self-doubt, that voice in my head saying, "Oh, you're not good enough," or, I doubt my decisions instead of having faith that you've got this, and listening to that, internal voice, like you're making the right decision. I think my failure sometimes is I doubt myself a lot. And then when I do that, then I'm second guessing, and that just goes down that rabbit hole, and it makes it hard to make a clear decision. But if you just pause and really listen deeply, you find the solutions.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I think that that's true. I think a lot of people have that inner voice. I think everyone does. And it's how you train yourself to overcome it, which is it's how you succeed in the end.
Absolutely.
That's
Absolutely. That
amazing.
was a great question.
I really appreciate you being on. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Have a great day and be well.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.